Welcome back to Railroads Online, and this is episode 12 of Playthrough. And we're back down from our trip to the iron mine, and we need to put in a yard here somewhere so that we have somewhere to store all these rail cars before we buy some cordwood cars. And I've cleared a spot here because this is pretty much the only space where I've left anywhere around the sawmill that I can put in a yard. So I've cleared a big space here and I've laid out lots and lots of groundworks, and you can see it's all Z-biting everywhere. And this is the only place I've got where I can put a yard. And I've added a switch in here and fixed up this little curve that was around here so that it meets up nicely into the switch. And so we're going to have to turn it'll be good if we can get it without. There we go. Put on the alt lock. Now we need to put a bit of a curve in here so that we can be pointed in the right direction. 5. And I didn't want to go too much above 25, so I might make it 28. I don't want to quite take it all the way up to 30. Otherwise we'll be just too far over there towards the trees by the time we turn this corner around for it to be pointing in the right direction to fit the yard in there. Even length segments all the way around the curve. We'll get a smooth curve. One more. Or should we back out of it? I think one more. Back out with a 5. No, I think we've gone one too far. Oh, we'll put the 5 on here anyway. And end the spline. And first track we'll go for is the runaround track. And then of course we want to space them apart at the spacings for a cross tracks width. And then on this side we'll put in a ladder yard. So this side here will be the runaround, and this side here will be a ladder yard. Cross track, and then one to the left. So we're working out our lanes. This here will be a lane. Put a cross track on the end of there. This one will be a lane. We'll build across this straight away. And remove the cross track so we don't have too many cross tracks confusing our build. And that's another lane. And this one's just a space. We need to put 3 lanes in for this. So that's 1, 2, 3. So it'll be 4 lanes total. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think perhaps we should have brought that corner around at the start just a little bit more, because I don't think we're quite pointed in the right direction here. We're going to run into a bank, I think. We might get past. We'll start at the uppermost track, which is this one here. build it out. Until we run out of room. We need to be able to fit 16 cars in each one of the sidings. I'm going to make them as a drive-through ladder yard so that I can either come in head first or I can back the train into the siding to put the rail cars to store them. And I've still got more room off into the distance if I need it. So we'll end that one there. Come back and build the next one. Well, I can probably build this curve backwards and get rid of this first. So let's wipe over this to get rid of this bit of track in the middle of the cross track. We will remove that. And build between these two cross tracks. Hopefully our curve is this one here's, oh, wrong way, a 3. And a 7 1/4. 7 1/4. And that lines it up neatly with there. And we can remove the two cross tracks from there now. This is this outside lane done at the start. Let's put this lane in. This is just another straight track. Nothing fancy here. And I'll probably need to clear a few more trees and lay down a bit more groundworks there towards the end of the yard, because they might not be long enough with how far I've laid out all these groundworks, but I'll have a better idea of where the actual tracks are going to go, and I don't need to put in quite as wide an area as what I currently have in here. So I was just taking a big guess when I laid out lots and lots to see where the edges were, to see what room I had. And I will come back through with the tree replant tool and replant all the trees back in there when I'm done. Okay, this cross track here can go now. We're finished with him. And the next lane. And what we'll do when we get to the last lane is we'll actually go get that train that's got 16 rail cars behind it and drive it in here and see whether or not it fits. If it doesn't fit, then we'll have to extend it a little bit. Might actually make it so that it fits 18, so there's a little bit of leeway on each end. Ended there, I don't have enough groundworks, got another segment on the end. Finish with that cross track. And this is not a real exciting yard. I could have done something fancy with a curved yard or something like that, but I've got lots of room here out this way, so just as easy to build it in with a straight yard. Takes a lot more work to make a curved yard. Yes, I don't think that's going to be long enough. We'll go get the, or we'll put in this last little section here. To do that, we need to delete that switch. And wipe over here to get rid of the track out of the middle of the cross track. And build backwards into the previous switch with a 3, 7 1/4, 7 1/4. Okay, and I've messed up. So let's remove this whole lane because this lane, entire lane's in the wrong place. It's too close. Or is it? Oh, look at that, it wasn't in the wrong place. I'd already replaced that cross track which I meant to leave there because I need to build back across it. That one. Oh, well, nothing like repeating over what you've already done. It's exactly the same thing as what you already had. Lucky it doesn't take long to build this. This is the shortest lane, so this is the one we'll test the train on. Now I can turn around and put the curve on the other end. Delete that. Delete that. And 3, 7 1/4. All the way to the end. It meets up neatly with there, and build across the cross track at the end. And there we go. There's the start of the entry point to the yard done. Flip this switch that way. Flip that switch that way. Flip that switch that way. So we should be lined in to go to the right hand side. Lane number 1. And we're finished with this cross track. We can now bring the train forward onto it. Oh, we need to put that one so we head into the yard. Oh, looks like we're low on steam here. So we'll get some fire going. Doors and windows. Should have enough steam here to get moving anyway. Yep, there we go. That'll get us rolling in there. And just looking at the length of that, yes, I think we're going to have to go quite a bit further. Yes, I sort of built myself into a corner when I designed this very simple layout around the sawmill. I did not leave myself anywhere to put a yard in a sensible spot. And because of that reason, I've got to try and put it here out of the way. And that's kind of troublesome on its own. And yes, with the switches being so big, it doesn't leave you many options on how you can put a yard in and where you can put it. We seem to be going quite slow. Let's give it a little bit more. Yes, I don't even think we're going to get partially on here. Not even 2/3 of the way, I reckon. And somewhere up here close to the end. Stop, train. Stop. Oh, that was timing, wasn't it? So how far off are we? About 2/3 of the train. It's just the last car needs to be about here, and what? No, that's only about half the train. That's the middle of the train there. So I've got to double that length. Which means I'm going to need to clear out a heap more trees up here, and I hope I've got enough room between here and the mountain over there to be able to fit this in. So, well, I will pause the video here and I'll do some clearing and lay down some more groundworks, and I'll see you back in a bit. And we're back again. Some area cleared, some groundworks laid down. Now we need to move this train a little bit back off of the end of the rail here so we can start building on it. Just a couple of segments back. That'll do. Now we will mark where our overlap piece will be, even though we'll come back over this later on and combine all these multiple splines back into single splines. We'll run out an extra bit of length here. We'll just build all the way to the end, as we'll pull the train up onto it so that we know how long it needs to be. It looks like we'll have plenty of room here. Almost to the end. And we'll shorten it back from the full distance after we pull the train up on it. We know where it's going to finish at. One more. Can't hurt. Hopefully we have enough room down in that direction to be able to put the other end of the yard in with a turntable on it to turn the locomotive around. So we'll delete the duplicate, which will be there, and a bit that tells us where we put it. And when I go forward, stop rolling backwards. All the way forward until all of the rail cars are nicely onto this side line. It's fast enough for us. And that'll do just nicely. Put the brakes on. Let's go and have a look and see what we've got here at the other end. That should be plenty of room. So what we'll do here now is delete all of the rest of these off the end from about here. And now if we make them all to match this one here, because I'm going to run this side of the ladder yard this way so that all of the lanes will actually be equal length, we need to turn this around and connect onto the back of here with the turnout. So we'll do the little trick for turning the track around, which is that one. And you want it to go to the right hand side. Delete that. Cross track on the end of there. And another measure for the length. It's cross track. Oh, delete. Got the wrong thing though. Now it worked. Now we want to turn to the left with the switch stand on the right. And now we have the right direction for this ladder on this end. And we can just build back the other way, the same as we did before with that one. And then we've got a cross track on there. Another switch the same. And a cross track on there. And another one the same as there. And by rights, they should all nice and neatly line up. Now we do have to put a switch on there because that needs to be built back through to complete this curve, because you must have the cross track at either end for that curve to work out and fit together neatly. So we'll put a small one here that'll tell us we've got an overlap duplicate. And build across it. Oh, might come back and we might put two shorter sections in here, 2 6s. And now we'll build over it. And as you can see, yes, we lined up perfectly. That met up neatly. And this is the curve that needs to be a 3 and a 7 1/4, 7 1/4, and connect to the end. And build over the cross track. Delete that cross track. Cross track, that duplicate track, and the thing that tells us it was a duplicate. And we have got a ladder yard that comes in and goes from one way to the other way. We need to put in that little bit of track there. And this little bit between here. And the last thing to do is connect up the 2 little tracks in the middle. And we want to mark it so that we know where it's at, because this will have a duplicate track over it. I'll lock on. And 9 ties all the way to the end. And it should meet up neatly with the end of this, and we're going to be just that little bit longer than a 9 tie, but no, got a nice tie spacing there. I'm happy with that. And well, it should be a nice even tie spacing because we've got the same length siding on all 3 of these, and that one there was 9 tie lengths all the way to the end, so it should fit nice and neatly all the way along. And mark it. Pulled over the top of the previous segment, and the same again. All the way to the end. And it meets up neatly. Alright, go back and remove our duplicate track. No, I could do the same now. It doesn't matter how many extra lanes I want to add in here because I've got room here. I can put another 3 lanes in here and I've got room there that I could fit another maybe 2, maybe 3 lanes in there. And it's exactly the same on each end of the ladder yard. You just extend it out. That's why it's good to have the ladder yards that instead of them being like the passing lane where this side goes this way and then this side comes back that way, to go this way, so that you can just keep on extending it outwards to have more lanes. And well, the thing that might hinder us is the amount of length that we've got on the end of here, which we need to get some groundworks in here and a piece in there to line up in front of us, and we want to run us straight out along here. Pretty much all the way to the end. Should be far enough. And delete one bit of rail out of the middle, which will allow us to put in the turntable. That's what happens when you click straight on top. You got to mid-level. You actually got to start over here with the delete tool. So click and hold there and then drag it over and it'll delete the ones out the middle. And then build back across the last segment here. Up to the end. And that's the placement. And delete that duplicate. And that's it, we're done. All that's left now is to delete all the temporary groundworks. And we have a yard built. And yeah, put in the finished groundworks underneath all the track that we just placed. Let's have a look and see how deep. Oh yeah, no, that's going to be nice, this depth here. I might put a ring around the outside of this one here as well with gravel so that it meets up nice and neatly into the ground. And the other job that'll be left is to plant the trees back in where I've cleared away too many trees. But now we have somewhere to put the stake cars and the log cars while we're running the cordwood down to the smelter. And next episode we will have to build in the unloading side of the smelter so that we can, basically from the area where we finish at the bottom of the grade, because I haven't built on from there yet, until we get to the unloading platforms. And I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do there yet, whether or not I'm going to make it a shunting area or whether or not I'll do an overloading area. And overload from one rail car to another and have a couple that just sit down there permanently for overloading. It is kind of a cheap way to do it, being they've got offset. It's not too hard to actually back in there, unload 4, and then pull forward and kick them to another line, and then back in again with the next 4 loaded ones, and then kick them back into the same line. Because by the time you've kicked off the 3 lots, you just back up to them and connect the 16 back together again and pull back out of the smelter. It does work pretty easily. And I did remember this time to get a guide track down on here. Something I'll quickly show you that I discovered just the other day. You can put down a piece of track here, and now let's say I don't have a sample height for what this track was laid at. If you use a cross track, you can put the mouse pointer in this first tie of a cross track, and it will get the track height that the track was laid at. And now, just to test that, we'll just bring it over here, and it should Z fight with this, and it doesn't. Okay, so I must have done something wrong there, because it has worked before. We'll try it again. Oh yeah, no, it's got to be right on this outside edge. Try that. No, that's too low. Because as you can see, it does start to raise up and drop down as you move backwards towards that. So, you know, let's try that then. And no, that's still not Z fighting. Close. But yes, that's one way that you can get your height that you laid the track back down. It's close, yeah, but that's still marginally above. It will get you close to what you laid if you didn't put down your little sample pieces. Finish off deleting all this groundwork. I probably didn't need this much, but I wasn't sure where it was actually going to fit at, so it was better to have too much than not enough. Oh, another piece down here I missed. Oh, 2 pieces. There we go. Now I think I've got it all. And we'll back this train out of here now as well. Makes it easier to snap the groundworks in when you don't have a train sitting over it. And you're not crouching trying to find the control points. Into reverse. Brakes off. And yes, that was pretty quick. Took about half an hour to make a 4-lane or 3-lane yard with a run around the far left lane as a run around so that you can bring the locomotive back out to the other end of the yard. Yeah, it seems pretty safe because yeah, we're blasting on that in reverse at full pace. It's pretty safe curves. Brakes on. Okay, well that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next episode.